I joined a Minecraft building contest, which is something I never thought I'd do again, but when I found out who was judging everyone's builds, I knew I had to join in and build something I've never built before. The judges are not only B000100, who's a member of Hermitcraft and my favorite builder ever that I've been watching on YouTube for like 4 years at least, but Mog Swamp, who's another huge YouTuber that I've been watching for like 2 years, a smaller YouTuber named Germsy Boy that I've been watching for about a year, and finally Stan616, who's a big content creator that I've gotten on my For You page several times on TikTok. So the theme for this competition was Reverie, which basically just means lost in thought. And to be able to come up with an idea for this thing, I scrolled on Pinterest for a while until I finally had some kind of plan. My idea for it was to build a girl looking up at the sky where these like flying koi fish are swimming in the air, almost as if they're a part of her imagination. The problem with that is that I have never built a person before. In fact, I've never built any kind of organic other than like some small trees here and there in the past. An organic build, by the way, is, from what I understand, any kind of living thing, I think. So basically, I have almost no idea what I'm doing. Not too long after I had the plan, the contest started, and I had 1 month to finish this entire thing. Which, by the way, is going to be so big that even with the max render distance, I couldn't even see the other side of my plot without flying pretty far. So anyway, I got started by building the head using a drawing technique called the Loomis method that I've used literally hundreds of times before, since people are all I draw. And I definitely didn't do the guidelines right the first time, but yeah, I tried my best to translate it over to 3D Minecraft, which wasn't the easiest thing in the world, I won't lie. I definitely ran into a ton of issues, especially because I'm building so big. Like, I didn't realize the scale I decided to build this girl until I had to work on the body, but that'll come later. But I did most of the sculpting by hand just because I wanted to make sure I got a relatively correctly proportional sized head. That was hard to say. Also because I wasn't too familiar with the tools just yet. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, this entire contest was an Axiom-only contest, so I was only allowed to use this one mod that I've only used like maybe 3 times before, which means I was at an even greater disadvantage. But the people on the server are super nice. They actually answered all of my questions pretty much. So shout out to Dr. Burr. He helped me an absolute ton throughout the month. Anyway, after starting the eyes, I took a break to check out some of the homies' builds. This is Zeki's, literally an insane builder. I don't even know how this guy thinks. Then here's Dr. Burr's, who got a nice looking dragon so far. Back to my build, I was finally happy enough for now with the jawline to build the ear, which I used a different block temporarily in case I wanted to move it with Axiom, which is such a goated feature. You can literally just magic select a block and you can move the entire thing in seconds. But next I wanted to start on the eyes, since I was really inspired by Zeki's because he does these crazy techniques to add tiny details by adding the most seemingly random blocks ever to add color. For example, in the eyes, I used like some flowers, a bell, a soul torch, a lantern, a piece of wheat, some candles for the highlight, a heavy core, and a bunch of glass and glass panes. Like literally anything I could find to get an interesting but natural looking eye that looked close to my reference image. When I was done with them, I summoned Zeki's to come take a look, and of course he approved. So for reference, I've been using this photo to go off of, which happens to be AI. I know. Cringe. I didn't even know it was AI, alright? I just like the colors. But anyways, the next thing I wanted to do was to color her face. And obviously, since it's AI, it doesn't know how to color things and shade them correctly. It just knows how to make things look pretty and vibrant. So that's when I kind of realized, hey, I should probably just do something else because this doesn't look that good. So I used some other images I conveniently found on Pinterest before this contest started, and then I made my own colors and shadows. I also visited this guy's plot, whose name is X90, and this guy is on another level. This guy is a crazy builder. I took a lot of inspiration from this build throughout the contest since we had a similar composition and idea, so another shout out to that guy. But next up, I decided to do the hair, and let me tell you, this was a very slow and tedious process because number one, I couldn't find a lot of reference images with the hairstyle I wanted to use. Number two, I couldn't find a tool that fit the needs I had to build this thing, so I did a lot of this by hand hand. And number 3, I don't know too much about what hair should look like. I'm not a hair specialist, so most of the time was just spent staring at the screen like Patrick Star, not really knowing what to do. Needless to say, I wasted a lot of time. I did get to take a break from building hair to start branching out to build the neck and do some shading here and there, which was fun for a bit until I realized you can't see my shading stuff because I didn't know how to turn on the night vision for these recordings until like the last week of the contest. So I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of clips of building in the darkness every so often. I saw that X90 built these really cool sparkles and I liked them so much that I stole them entirely and built them on mine. To be fair, he told me I could do it. Don't worry. Back to the hair, I finally started shading it, which was once again a long process, especially because there's not a whole lot of blue blocks that work good in Minecraft. Even though there is a lot of blue blocks in Minecraft, it's crazy how that works. But I did my best to use darker glass colors to darken spots I wanted shadows, as well as lighter glass colors to make the highlights, so I could basically artificially make it look like there's more blue and more texture, if that makes any sense. I think it ended up looking pretty good though, so I can't really complain. Next step was to start working on the body, and I'm sorry for the massive shadow in the middle. I didn't know it would look like that on the replay. But anyway, this was another very painful process, mainly because I've never 3D modeled anything before, so I really struggled getting the proportions right, even though I knew what it was supposed to look like. Going back to the drawing thing, I've drawn hundreds of torsos in my time, so I know how it should look like, but I didn't have the skill to build it that fast. It's a really annoying feeling. So it definitely looked way too small for quite some time, and since I was so in the mindset of how do I apply drawing knowledge to this build to make it look right, I really wasn't thinking in 3 dimensions. I was only looking at it from one angle pretty much for a long time, which makes sense, but I wasn't thinking about the bigger picture and stepping back to see it. I did eventually work it out though, and was comfortable enough to start on the arms, which had a similar issue where the proportions just didn't make sense for several days, and I kept on adjusting it and adjusting it and adjusting it until they looked decent enough to look like arms or whatever. After that came the hands, which I thought would be a lot harder considering how hard they are to draw, so that was really interesting. Maybe I got lucky and built them right the first time, or they're actually just easy to build. I might never know, honestly. Next up was the shirt. This wasn't nearly as painful as the other stuff, but it definitely wasn't easy. Luckily, I wear a shirt in real life, so I took a bunch of reference photos of myself in that pose to make sure the shape and the curves made sense or whatever. It was mainly just time consuming, and I was also learning how to use the modeling tool that Zeki's recommended. Then I added a bunch of folds on the shirt to make it look roughly normal, which I wanted to spend more time on, and I just never really got to it in the end. I also did the shading of the shirt where it made sense to me, which the lighting is on the top right of the girl, so I put the shadows on the bottom left. I decided to try and work on the floor design next because that was one of the most important elements of the whole build, and let me tell you, this was a painful process. So I wanted to do something with glass and make the ground water, or at least look like water. So I experimented with making the water really flat and then having a ripple effect around the girl, but I just couldn't figure out a design that I liked whatsoever. But after like 6 or 7 tests, I finally got something I kinda liked, which was this spiral whirlpool looking design. So I had the genius idea to build the same design but make it exactly half the size of the plot so that I could just scale it up by 2 in Axiom. So basically I only had to do half the work. Kinda genius if you ask me, but it did come with some problems. For example, it just made everything look really blocky when I scaled it up. It's like if you try to zoom in on a really low resolution photo and it's all pixelated. I definitely wasn't super proud of it just because I know I could do better, but it was the best thing I had to work with, so I didn't really dwell on it, and after I finished it, I immediately worked on the next thing. So after moving the girl onto the water design, I was finally able to work on the koi fish I mentioned earlier. This was definitely the easiest process out of the whole thing, and it was honestly just really chill. I tried to make them look really bright with lights all around them to make them look glowing. Once I finished the first fish, the rest were pretty straightforward because I could just copy the main body and then scale it down or rotate it however I wanted to keep the same fish body shape, but also make them look a little different from each other. So I think there were 3 different sizes of fish and a couple variants of the way they're faced. I also realized I kinda hated the colors I used, so I pretty much changed all of them, getting rid of the black spots on them and using like every different color basically. So instead of having the standard orange, black, and white koi fish, I changed them to be all the different colors of the rainbow, which I think made it look way more interesting in my opinion. Maybe not, I don't know. So after finishing the fish, I put some water and blue glass in the girl's hands since I hadn't done anything with her hands yet, which I did some more work on it off camera. I don't even know why I didn't record it. Then I added some earrings for her because that was another small detail I wanted to add. Then finally, there was less than an hour left in the contest, so I decided to build a t-shirt design with a butterfly and the word shackle on it. And with literally 3 minutes left, I just barely was able to paste the shirt design onto the main plot, completing my entire build. Before I show off my full plot, I had to check out some of the other people's finished builds. Some of these are literally insane. Like, I honestly can't compete against most of these, but I'm really hoping I can get top 10 at least. When I'm recording this voiceover, the scores haven't dropped yet. It should be in a few days, hopefully, so I guess we'll see. It's been a few weeks, and finally the judging is done. They actually ended up streaming the entire thing on Twitch, which I didn't know they would do, so I thought I'd show some of that first.
All right, let's go to the next one.
Shuckle Shack?
Shuckle Shack, yeah.
Oh. Ooh.
Another ocean-ish themed one with a lot of water.
Whoa. Now this is unique.
Oh, wow.
I love your work, beat-ups, mobs, homes, jerseys. Uh-oh, Stan.
Wait, what happened?
There's shout-outs here, and your name's not here, so I think we got your first 1 star.
Wait, what are we talking about?
Hey, there's signs at the front.
At the start.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
You know what?
man.
I'll add it for you. I'll add it.
No, wait, I want to see. Wait, hold on.
I
just
can't
love
actually...
how they did this water. That is so sick.
Yeah.
Wait,
This actually makes me
different.
wonder
what's my name?
how they did. It's not.
Where's your name? Where's your name? He missed. He missed
Wait,
it.
I missed what you said, though.
There's
Oh.
shout outs here, but
Oh, okay.
but
Yeah.
they didn't include
said
you.
like big fan, B-dubs, Mog Swamp Gerbs.
Yeah, just go to the spreadsheet, put the 1 star, and move on. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I'll trust you. I'll trust you. I'll trust you.
This swirl is just like so pleasing.
I'm wondering how they made this because, like, you know, it's an Axiom only competition, but even I don't know how they did all of these like swirls.
Oh, I forgot. This was Axiom only. Yeah.
Like,
How did they do
my
this?
mind would go to like a one of those
One of those commands.
what-
Yeah.
the
Chunky
big
terrain.
like, exactly.
Yep. I know exactly
This
the
is-
command you're talking about. That's where my
Yeah,
mind
it's
went too.
easy edits, but like
How,
no, this
so
is
how would you do
Axiom,
this with
so
Axiom? Yeah. A lot of hard
Looks
work.
like a lot of painstaking labor.
Fire in the fish is cool. I've never seen that before. Fire inside the
there-
glass.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's sick.
That works insanely well. How did I not even notice that?
It just adds like some movement to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's cool. You could probably do something similar, like they did. Oh wow, look, they actually did.
With water?
Right here, the soul fire.
So
No,
fire,
the
yeah.
soul fire.
Oh.
All right.
Have you guys been seeing this more? People working out like extremely detailed eyes in Minecraft.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
they went crazy on these, didn't they?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I've been
They
I need
did.
to
It's
pay
like
more
The,
attention.
the
to that.
heavy core here, there's like, I love how they're like pushing and pulling.
Yep.
I
Using, like
don't-
highlights and shadows. Like sometimes they'll put like something black in front of something brighter, but
Yep.
when you go back, it looks like it's behind. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
I don't understand how you even do this because I was in a call with Germsy when the contest like first started. I was trying to like make the Axiom logo and doing the anti-aliasing tricks of like, you know, an oxide daisy here and like a green panel there. You know, I'm trying, right? Look,
Yeah.
look like just horrible, right? But then I see these people and I'm like, you know, I don't even notice the blocks there, the individual blocks. I just see a really detailed eye, and then I go up close and I see like an oxide daisy, a torch flower, a bell, a candle. You know, just like put everything in there, whatever, right?
Mhm.
But it
Mhm.
works. I don't understand how you even learn this.
Yeah, I really appreciate the shaping on this one. There's like really
Mhm.
nothing jumping out at me, like anatomically speaking. That's like
I think Yeah,
bothering me. Like it's
think
like perfectly cartoony, you know.
the side
Mhm.
profile is probably just a little bit rigid,
Oh,
I guess.
I actually
Jaw
really like
button.
the curve they got on that nose, that like button nose. It like
Yeah.
kind of like the Puffs tissue commercials. You know what I
That's,
mean?
Mm.
yeah, I can see that.
I love
They've
how
got
they
like
just
the
one.
perfect like cartoony proportions going on. I like it. It's like it's like a little bit stylized, you know.
So that was super, super cool to see some of my favorite YouTubers talk about my build in such a nice way. And what's crazy is Mog Swamp actually gave me the best rating out of every contestant, which I don't think I deserve, but I feel so incredibly honored about that, and I really appreciated all the kind words they all gave. I ended up getting 12th place, I think, and I say I think because the spreadsheet was a little confusing to me. So I didn't quite make top 10, unfortunately, but I did have a lot of fun. So if you did enjoy this video, please consider dropping a like and subscribing because it really helps out my channel. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.